the Brüka Theatre. Good. I figured if you heard my voice. We are so excited to bring Take 5 back. It has had an incredible history here at the Brüka Theatre. It started in 2018, way back when. Let me set your imagination. The wind was blowing. The land was beautiful. Everyone was free, and there were no problems. It was 2018. No one was ill. There were no masks. We all loved each other, and if we didn't say a word about it. Betty. And through those years, we have been able to have so many incredible community members come into Brüka Theatre and share their mastery, share the things that they love to do, their passions, their tools, their ideas, their humor, their hearts, with all of us in a 5-minute presentation. And it was 2017 that a lovely woman named Elizabeth Tenney came into our lives, and she'd been coming into the theater and watching our shows, and the fact that she stuck through it is an amazing thing in itself. And the fact that many of you also do is an amazing thing, and it fills our lives and our hearts, so thank you. And Elizabeth had an idea that she used in Mammoth of getting 5-minute performances together, presentations together, and she liked it. And she thought it would be fun for us to do as well, and so did we. And as we were conversing, she reminded me that after she gave the gift of the idea, this is a huge thing for all of us, gave the gift of the idea, I asked her to help. And thank goodness she did, because she taught us so much about the process. We're learners here. We are an artist-run theater, and we have our fingers in many pies. And so the fact that she brought us this wonderful gift, and it's still going, is amazing. Even in COVID, we did an online version and had some pretty quirky little presentations because we were trying. And our dear Bill Quinby, who's up filming tonight so that we can remember these as well, was there for us to be able to film for so many weird things in COVID. Thank you, Bill. We appreciate you. We are an odd family around here at Brüka Theatre. And so now it is 2025, 7 years later, and we don't look a day over 21. And thank goodness Carrie brought her makeup tonight. So, without further ado, if you don't know me, but I think we all know each other, and you don't need me to say that I'm married, but in life I'm married sometimes. But tonight, Carrie and I, as the hosts of the evening, will be the Martini sisters. Ethel and Merman Martini. You're welcome. And as we drink that martini through the first act, things will probably get interesting, and that's why we're here. So as we present all of our wonderful community members, they've never done this before either. This is all new and spontaneous and wonderful, and that's what makes this fun. Each presenter gets 5 minutes on the clock. Merman Martini over here is our official timer. We weren't sure if we need glasses, and now we're sure. At 5 minutes, you begin. And then Merman, it's hard to call you that, but I'm going to get used to it. Merman will give you a little ding at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And it sounds like that. It sounds like that. It's really good. It might be different though. But it'll always be a ding. I'll always do that. But don't look over there because you're going to be focused. Especially on the surgery in the first time. And then at 5 minutes, at the 5-minute alarm, you're going to hear this. So be sure to stop. Now, the myth and legend of the Brüka Theatre, our board president, who also designs the sets, has never made it through a take 5. The bell rings at 5 minutes and he's not done. And sometimes we have to carry him off stage because he's still talking, and that's okay. But we'll carry you off if we need to, because we love you. And everyone gets 5 minutes. So now I'm going to go over here and be Ethel Martini and do the correct announcement. Okay, so, friends and legends, it is almost time for you to begin. What I shall do as the announcer host is do your bio, announce you, and you can trail onto stage. And then I shall say, start the time, like that. And then Carrie will start the time, and then chaos will ensue. Okay? Are we ready to go? All right. Welcome. This is what we do at our playground at home, so thanks for coming today. Welcome to Take 5 Wildcard, our Friday night presentations. Up first is a phenomenal legend here in Reno and throughout Nevada and the world. Angela Watson. Angela is the owner of Black Hole Body Piercing. With over 30 years of piercing, Angela is the most experienced professional piercer in her hometown of Reno, Nevada. Clients travel far and wide for her skills and her expertise. At Black Hole, she strives to provide the best customer service possible. Her staff inspires her every day, keeping the business fresh with their ideas and passion for the piercing industry. Angela credits Black Hole's ever-growing success to making customer service the highest priority. Angela and her family have been part of the Bruka family for many years, and we very much enjoyed partnering with Angela on different community projects. It is our honor to present to you tonight Angela Watson with How to Pierce Like a Pro.
Hi everyone. Okay.
Right. Are
Here
you
we
ready,
go.
Angela? Here we go. And
Right. Here's some images. We're gonna move on.
start the timer.
Okay. We've already covered this. Let's move on. Perfect. This is what I wanted to show you tonight. So all of you in the audience, raise your hand if you have been pierced at Black Hole, or maybe know someone that's been pierced at Black Hole. Yeah, I see a lot of hands. Thank you so much. We've been doing this 30 years, and there's 2 misconceptions about what I do. It's easy, and it's cheap. Neither of those things are true. It's a very hard thing to do, and we have to use a lot of things, but a lot of people think to get this, we need those 2 things at the very top. I need some jewelry, and I need some needles. That's not the case. There's so much that goes into getting a professional piercer that separates us from just getting a piercing. Going to a professional studio, there's things that you can expect, like medical grade autoclaves, water distillers to run those autoclaves, tests and maintenance. We have to have appropriate lighting, appropriate furniture. We have to have inspections. We have to have health permits. There's so much that goes below the surface of what happens when we are trying to create something like this. Some of the tools and things that we used, I brought for you to see tonight. Of course, you can't see them from your seat, so I will set them aside so that you can see them during the intermission if you'd like to take a look or ask any questions. And so I'm just gonna kind of go over a few more of these things. Single-use supplies, that's what I've got on this tray. It seems like we might just need some jewelry and needles, but we need all of these things on this tray to do one piercing on one person. Everything here is used for depending on what the piercing is. So we operate with a lot of single-use items so that we are providing the safest piercing to you. But sometimes those things are re-sterilized, so we have to, like I talked about the medical grade autoclaves, we're operating at a hospital level with some of those things, and we do internal testing, we do external testing, we use gloves. And can I tell you, and I know you've got some other, we use so many gloves. There are gloves and gloves everywhere, all over the studio. We use so many gloves. And each piercing probably takes about 4 pairs of gloves and 1 set of sterile gloves so we can do the piercing. And we have to have bloodborne pathogens training, CPR training. We need business cards. We need promo items. We have sharps containers to dispose of those needles. And we need to have services. Back in the 90s when I started this, there was no one that would take my needles. Can you believe that? We've come so far. So as a professional studio, I have a professional service that handles my sharps. And that's something that's come along with technology. This is stuff that when I started, we've had to build this industry and be able to get access to a lot of things, including a lease. That was real hard for me to do in the 90s as a woman in here. So things like insurance, security, we gotta protect things, we have to pay taxes. And as we know, these gloves now all have tariffs on them too. So I just threw away like, I don't know, $27 in tariffs or something, right? And so with that, you know, when we go into this, all of these things go into it and control that price. So that's where I get into, we're not cheap. And there's a reason. If it's cheap, maybe they're not a professional. Maybe they aren't upholding these standards and doing all of these things that you see here. And an actual professional piercer is also going to have proper experience and knowledge, continue that training. I present as a teacher at APP, which is an Association of Professional Piercers. So I take the knowledge that I have given and that I've learned, and I give that to other folks in my industry. So continuing that on and sharing information with others is part of that process for me. And the other things that we kind of, you know, think about when we go this washing hands. I have to invest a lot of money in hand lotion. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So the other thing I talked about is it's not easy. Well, it's not. So one of the things that I have to do is I have to put a ball on a wet tongue. So I'm going to show you what that's like right now. Let's see what we do. All right, so what I have here is I have a nice juicy.
And that, my friends, is Angela Watson. Somebody who can truly dress a set, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Angela Watson, round of applause. If our adorable Cadence isn't going for a piercing every 6 months, I don't know what she's doing. So thank you, Angela, for bringing all of your art to the community. Those rubber gloves are on the house. No, I'm going to be the other person. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, up next with our Take 5 Wildcard Friday night presenters is Mr. Mike Grimm. Michael Grimm studied theater arts at SUNY Suffolk in New York. Since 1997, Michael has been acting, writing, and directing with the Brüka Theatre. His credits as an actor include Little Shop of Horrors, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Bint, Waiting for Godot, Noises Off, Macbeth, I'm sorry. A Christmas Carol, Tartuffe, True West, Weeple Madness. He directed Bruka's production of A Streetcar Named Desire, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, Titus Andronicus, ooh, Little Murders, on the Verge. In addition to his work on the stage, Michael designs many of the posters for Bruka's shows. When he's not at Bruka, he's teaching middle school science, spending his time with his two lovely children and his dogs, drawing comics, answering my texts, and designing dice games. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to present to you Michael Grimm with How to Throw the Bones.
Yo! Sick of hearing about me.
And time.
Good, perfect. Am I done yet? No. So, you have a little bag of geek bones with you, little black bag we gave you. Take out your little bones. I'm going to teach you a little bit about these. I'm going to give you the entire history of ancient divination in 5 minutes. Actually, I was inspired to do this back when I was doing a little piece for Bruka back around 2003. I did it here and then I did it at Burning Man, and it was the Bone Doctor, and I was this very politically incorrect Jamaican voodoo doctor with a bad accent and bad face paints, and I went down to KFC and boiled down some chicken bones and started throwing them in this little chart that I made, because I was a total skeptic. I had no idea what I was doing. But as I was doing these readings for people, throwing the bones and answering their questions, they all started going, well, that was a little too close to home, Mike. And then some were saying, F you, Grim. And we're walking out mad, and I was like, what is going on? I have no skills in this whatsoever. I'm not whatever. I don't have any of these. And then as I did it more, I realized, wait, this is touching people. This is affecting people. I kind of like this. I don't know why it is, but it seems to be working. Little improv skills and a little bit of storytelling, and it was helping people along, giving them a little bit of direction. And then years later, I was reading Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick, and he had the I Ching that he was throwing every morning. And it turns out that Philip K. Dick was actually using the I Ching oracle to write the book. And I was like, this is really cool. I want that. I want that in my hand. I want to be able to answer questions and just flip the coin. And I was like, but I don't want to flip a coin 18 times or 6 times and have to open up the book of I Ching. So I started to create a little, very simpler version of that. And it's a combination of I Ching and a little bit of feng shui too, because it's the little areas of your life on the symbols. It has a modern geek flavored theme to it. And if you check the little guide I gave you, it tells you what the chaos die, the black die, means, and then what the white die, the control die, or the order die means. So you ask a question, it has to be open-ended, not yes or no, has to have some sort of open to the universe sort of question. You roll the dice, and then as a human being, we answer one of the 35,000 things you have to answer in a day, and the average decision you have to make is about 35,000 for each of us. I could take 1 or 2 of those off your plate with these bones. So I ask the question, I roll the dice, and you'll see the little symbols on it. One's a little brain symbol, which is I call it AI on here, and it's about your mind. And your mind, something in your question, your mind is in chaos. And then your white die, I have a little spaceship, which is a little launch. It means either an action that you have to take would be launching something. You have to start something to overcome the chaos. Or it could be in your spiritual life. Something in your spiritual life needs to be focused on. So each one of these symbols have its own meaning, have multiple meanings. I tried to pack way too much into this little dice system. If you look closely, you'll see the little I Ching symbols inside the symbol. So if you wanted to use these are, one roll will get you 64 outcomes. You can take your I Ching book and use these dice to roll and do your I Ching for the day. as well. So it's fun. I think it's a fun little experience. What I realized after doing this and playing with people and carrying these around and rolling it is that we didn't need necessarily some sort of power from the beyond in these divination tools. You needed just some direction, not necessarily the right direction. Sometimes it's just a direction. You just need to point some way. So I hope you enjoy your little gift from me, your little geek bonus, and read into the little symbols. You have a little laser here, which represents focus. So if you're out of focus, this is your symbol for that. The little sword is a symbol of action, so taking some sort of action when it's red on the white die, the control die, the order die. And then those same symbols are, both dice have all the symbols, so you'll read the same symbol on both die and they have different meanings, of course. So enjoy your gift from me. I hope you use them or pass them on to someone else who might use them. And have a great day. Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Grimm. I don't know about you, but I wanted to know what one of his 64 questions was going to be with those dice. Michael?
Yes.
What would one of your 64 questions be?
One of my questions or one of your questions?
Exactly.
You ask a question and I'll roll it for you.
Okay, that sounds great. All right. So Michael Grimm is teaching us all how to think in an open-minded way, which is a wonderful gateway into our next group. Up next on Take 5 Friday night is an incredible group of powerful women. A group that I have likened to stock in the past couple of years, and I look to them for inspiration and community guidance. That is a new word for tonight. Keep it. Cod Pink Reno. Established in the spring of 2024, Cod Pink Reno is the local chapter of Cod Pink, a feminist grassroots organization working to end U.S. warfare and imperialism, support peace and human rights initiatives, and redirect resources into healthcare, education, green jobs, and other life-affirming programs. Our local chapter works hard to raise awareness of ways that we can all divest from companies that derive their profits from U.S. military interventions, the global arms trade, and the militarization of our streets. Thank goodness for community. Thank goodness for all of you here tonight. It is our honor to present Cod Pink Reno, How to Boycott Like a Boss. Time. Give me a B. B. Give me a D. D. Give me an S.
S.
Put it together and what do we get?
BDS.
BDS stands for boycott, divestment, and sanction. We are part of Cod Pink Reno, and although divestment and sanctions are important, today we are going to focus on boycott. And we are going to teach you how to boycott like a boss so that you can put your money where your ethics are. So what is a boycott? A boycott is when a unified group of individuals refuse to do business with companies who do not align with our values of peace, environmentalism, anti-imperialism, and basic just being a good humanism. So, until that company makes changes. But boycotts don't work, you say? In 1955, the black residents of Montgomery, Alabama began the Montgomery bus boycott to peacefully protest segregation on buses. For over a year, they walked, biked, and carpooled to demand bus integration until the bus system gave in. In 1965, striking farm workers demanded a national boycott of Delano videos to push for better working conditions. After national and international pressure from restaurants, churches, and individuals, farm owners finally signed labor contracts with safer working conditions. The anti-apartheid boycott movement began in 1959 and lasted for over 30 years. 30 years! National and international pressure from individuals, companies, and nations refusing to buy goods from South Africa contributed to the end of legalized apartheid. Contrary to what our media is telling us, the state of Israel not only escalated its genocide of the Palestinian people over the last 2 years, it is continuing its brutal occupation, oppression, apartheid, and ethnic cleansing in Gaza and the West Bank. They have violated the current supposed ceasefire over 200 times and are still preventing vital food, water, and medical supplies and aid from reaching the survivors of the Gaza genocide. And in a horrifying development, just this week, the Knesset passed a law legalizing the execution of thousands of Palestinian hostages held without trial or even charges. We have to speak with our wallets. The BDS movement began in 2005 and demands that Israel follow international law and dismantle its brutal, illegal occupation of Palestinian land. Dozens of U.S. companies are either directly benefiting from Israel's genocide and illegal occupation, or they are complicit in its continuation. It's up to the people of the U.S. to pressure these companies to end their ties to genocide. Now a question for the audience. So raise your hand if you bought gas from Texaco, Chevron, or Caltech in the last month. Raise your hand if you've used Airbnb in the past 6 months. Raise your hand if you've purchased from Amazon, Spotify, or Disney in the last 6 months. So what can we all do about this right here, right now?
Number 1, educate ourselves. If you're not familiar with the 77-year-long history of brutal displacement, genocide, and occupation of the Palestinian people, do your research.
Number 2, gather your resources. There are a lot of resources out there to help start your boycotting journey. Start small if you need to. If you don't want to get rid of Disney right now, then how about Chevron? If you don't go with Chevron, then boycott it. Also, get familiar with lots of resources like this pamphlet that you can get during intermission on how to start BDS.
And number 3, come organize with us at Cod Pink Reno or any of the local social justice and mutual aid groups here in town.
So let's finish this off with a cheer. Audience, let me hear you loud and clear. What are you going to do?
Boycott!
Why are you going to boycott?
End apartheid!
And what are you personally going to boycott right now?
Google!
Chevron!
Coca-Cola!
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, Cod Pink. It's so incredible when community comes together and when people are passionate about causes and also help educate each other. We all are not ever going to have the same opinion, but we all live in a world with love. And it's so important that we open our ears and our eyes to all of the people in the room. And Cod Pink teaches us not only what's happening in the world, but how to open our eyes and our ears. Thank you, guys. And also theatrically, that was a stunning presentation. And in 5 minutes. Sometimes it's taken 2 hours to get to that arc, and you got it all. Exposition, you wrote it up, and then the climax. I boycotted everything over here. Except gin. Is gin bad? That's right. That's right. Thank you. Manal. I say that because I asked Manal how to say her name, and she says it sounds like canal. Manal is her name, and she is an amazing woman who has many ties in our community. Friday night at Take 5 brings us the founder and executive director of Notable Music Therapy Services. She obtained her master's degree in music therapy from the University of the Pacific and completed her clinical internship at Oregon State Hospital in Salem. With more than 25 years experience in hospital, forensic, education, mental health, addiction, and community settings, Manal is an internationally recognized authority on community-based music therapy. Her current interests lie primarily in the areas of mental health and addiction. Manal has presented throughout the United States and in Europe, and has served as the Western Regional Representative to the American Music Therapy Association's Internship Approval Committee. As a member of the Nevada State Music Therapy Task Force, she helped draft Senate Bill 190, which created a state license that oversees the profession of music therapy in Nevada. I know, and all of her titles have really long names. She's really important. Manal is also a professional violinist who plays regularly with the Reno Philharmonic and serves as an adjunct facility at the School of Public Health at the University of Nevada, Reno. And she also made time. Yes, but you made time for us tonight, and that is so important. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is Manal Topazada, How to Hack Your Brain with Music.
Thank you.
Time.
Hello, my name is Manal, and I'm a music therapist with Notable Music Therapy Services, and I'm going to give you 2 ways today to hack your brain with music. Music, it's everywhere, right? It's in our cars, it's in our homes, it's in our stores. But because music is so ubiquitous, we take for granted the power that it has to influence our bodies, our brains, and our nervous systems. Okay, so hack number 1 we're going to talk about as soon as we listen to this piece of music. Okay, who knew that song? Anybody? I think one person in the audience might have. If you did, this is not for you. If you did not know that song, what was happening in your brain? I will tell you right now, your brain lit up. And collectively, all of our brains lit up like a giant Christmas tree. Why? Because listening to unfamiliar music gives your brain a phenomenal workout, and it helps with something that we call neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means keeping our brains resilient and responsive. So when you heard that piece of music, your brain, in milliseconds, in addition to processing the musical input, you experienced confusion. You're like, what the hell? I thought you said music, right? Curiosity. What kind of music is that? What language are they singing in? Should I like it? What's going to happen next? So hack number 1, one of the best ways to keep your brain neuroplastic, listen to unfamiliar music every day. When we listen to familiar music, our brains are like, yeah, right? But unfamiliar music gives your brain a great workout. So if anyone in here wants permission to learn the music to K-pop Demon Hunters, today's your permission right now. Hack number 2, in addition to wanting to keep our brains responsive and resilient, we, especially as we get older, we want to learn things, right? We want to be able to learn, retain, recall, and regurgitate, reproduce information. So hack number 2, we're gonna do this right now. I'm gonna say a sentence, and you guys are all gonna repeat it after me. I want some ice cream, please.
I want some ice cream, please.
Let's get that a little bit louder. I want some ice cream, please.
I want some ice cream, please.
Say that backwards. Please. I love it. Lots of, I can't even see you, but I can feel the panic in the room. So what just happened, what you experience in your brains is very similar to what people who've had strokes and who have what we call expressive aphasia experience. All that information was in there, right? But you just couldn't organize it and you couldn't reproduce it. So let's hack our brains. I'm going to sing that sentence backwards and you're going to repeat after me. So listen. Please cream ice, some want I. Let's do that together. Please cream ice, some want I. One more time, listen to me. Please cream ice, some want I.
Please cream ice, some want I.
Wonderful. So we're going to accelerate this process. We're going to take away the melody, and we're just going to do rhythm. So listen to me, and I'm going to just say that sentence in rhythm. Please cream ice, some want I.
Please cream ice, some want I.
Phenomenal. Okay, we're going to say that sentence forward, and we're going to say it backwards. Ready? I'll say the sentence forward. I want some ice cream, please.
Please cream ice, some want
I. Woo! Give yourself a hand. So we can use music to learn, retain, recall, and reproduce information educationally, but practically, how can we use this in our lives? I am infamous, maybe famous, for losing things all the time. I lose my keys, put things down everywhere, and we can use music and pair it with behaviors to help us learn and remember those behaviors. So, if I go into my bedroom and I put my keys on the bedside table, which I tend to do, I don't know why, it's the dumbest place to put your keys, but I just do that all the time. So I put my keys down. If I sing a little song that says, I'm putting my keys on the bedside table, and this dumb, whatever little song like that, 4 hours later, when I'm trying to find my keys, what's going to happen? My brain is going to hear that song, and I'm going to remember that my keys are on my bedside table. So, use music. Music can hack our brains in so many different ways. If you're interested in learning more about how you can use music to help your brain, your body, and your nervous system, come talk to me at intermission, and feel free to reach out to Notable Music Therapy Services at any time. Thank you.
I think she should still get the thunder swish. Please, some gin, want more now. It's magic, isn't it? Where I put the keys, all of the things. So much magic tonight. This is actually, they're going to take me out on this. And I couldn't be happier. So I could tell you a story about when I was a kid. My mother went back to the university. She was in her 40s, and we made friends with the neighbors who were very intelligent. And the neighbor, who was a professor, decided he would have his wake before he died. And so he did. And I remember as a child attending and being a little bit confused, especially when he sat up and he had some whiskey. But I thought to myself, why not have your wake before you die? That's not what we're going to do today, of course. Because I would be happy to wear a mask in that grave. If you've not eaten dinner yet. Now serving at table 5. I filled, and now I shall become your sister. So far, I must say, we've had 4 incredible presentations. I'm just so pleased. And I think Elizabeth brought us a beautiful gift again. So thank you, Elizabeth. Our 5th presentation in Bruka's Take 5 features Riley McKinney, a 2020 graduate from the University of Nevada, also called UNN. all. She graduated with a BA in theater and a minor in ceramics. And that's how she ended up working with us. Thank God. You've seen her custom fabricated props in Sideshow, Christmas with the Crawfords, Little Miss Buttcracker, Ride That Cyclone, and Club Inferno. She has been working with Brüka Theatre since 2015 and is currently the manager of Nikki's with Jessie, located downstairs and serving refreshments both pre-show and during intermission. Ladies and gentlemen, it is such a great honor for the Martini sisters who achieved a martini earlier with the help of Nikki's to present to you tonight Riley McKinney with How to Create Props from Scratch. Time.
Hello. As Mary said, I'm Riley McKinney, and you've seen my custom props in Christmas with the Crawfords, Sideshow, Little Miss Buttcracker, Ride the Cyclone, and Club Inferno. All of these props were made from thrifted, found, free, or trash items. And today I have 4 guidelines for you so that you can make props from scratch, reduce your consumption, and reduce your spending. Number 1, practical use. What is the life of this prop? How is it being used? Is it in a fight sequence? Is it a casual stage business prop? Does it include a special effect? The answer to these questions will determine what materials you need to source. For durability, if it's a fight call prop, then it needs a more durable material than a prop that is just passed around the dinner table. If it has a specific function, like a special effect, that means it needs movement or effect engineering, which also changes the materials that you're going to use. For example, these organs from Club Inferno needed to be hidden unnoticed in the tight bodice of a dress before their reveal. Therefore, they are made out of car wash sponges so that they can compress and retain their shape quickly, and they also hold paint really well. So that brings us to other good base options for your things that are easy to find for free are wire hangers, which are used in this, old hats, cardboard, hard plastic packaging from the grocery store, things like that. So number 2, shapes. What can you find that is already the base shape of what you're going to create? For example, this turkey leg from Christmas with the Crawfords was made with a tea bottle. I'm addicted to these. They're always around. It's almost the exact shape I needed, and I was able to build it up into this shape using bubble mailers, cardboard, paper, and tape. This robot head is made out of a collapsible storage box from the dollar store. These eyes are weed jars, and these are red solo cups. And they're easy to disguise, and they did the work for me, right? And then number 3, your finishings. You need to consider the texture, details, and color as you source material that will cover your base. For texture, we have the turkey leg, right? We think the skin of a turkey leg. Thin, taut, peelable. So I used a pair of nude tights I'd been hoarding from high school that no longer fit. And they were the exact perfect material for that, and it held paint perfectly. For details, this rat is a rock star rat. I wanted him to have piercings. So these earrings on his ears had lost their pairs, would have ended up in the trash, but now they make him my rock and roll rat. The same thing goes for this rat. It needed to be gory. Some red string that I don't even know where I found it became the guts. Super easy, all free. Wire hangers also built this guy. And then color. Color can get complicated. Paint is expensive and very difficult to find free or inexpensive without sacrificing quality. I recommend you get very comfortable with color theory, buy your primaries, buy your secondaries, learn to mix your own colors to reduce your consumption of paint, because acrylic paint's just plastic, guys. And then other materials to cover your bases, like fabric, tablecloths, sheets, your old clothes, plastic wrap from packaging, gift wrap, gift bags. They're all possible things that you can use that either you have or someone else has. And then number 4, free first, pay later. Plenty of materials are available to you in your recycle bin, trash can, kitchen cabinets, closets. Use those before you purchase expensive materials because that's capitalism. We don't need to do that. If you don't have what you're looking for, your community does. Reach out to your friends, family, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, your local Buy Nothing group on Facebook. Check them out. They're super helpful. And then cardboard is your best friend. It's easy to work with, it's easy to source for free, and everybody wants to get rid of their boxes. And then you too can make props from scratch. It just takes creativity and resourcefulness. And if you don't want to do it, you can hire me.
We are so blessed by Riley McKinney, and we are so blessed by all of you. And before we have our still functioning and alive wake, that rat has had better days. We are going to take a 15-minute intermission. Because it's Take 5 and because it's a special show tonight, you have a lot of resources in this building. Just from the 5 groups that have already come up, make friends, get to know people, ask questions, because that's why we're here, is to create community. I do deeply want to thank you, Elizabeth Tinney. You mean a lot to us. And if you have any questions for Elizabeth, pretend I didn't point her out in the audience. We'll take 15 minutes and we'll see you all for our Act 2, Take 5. One more round of applause for our first act, Take 5, please. Wait, I'm going to put this over with the swag items to represent. So much fun. Welcome back to Act 2 of Brüka Theatre's Take 5 2025 Wild Card. This now makes me want to have, could we do like a show here in the daytime where we give away small products and people pay to see it? Let's do that. Yes, and you can all, it will all be the starters of it, we'll be the originators. And I think we're gonna really have something and maybe make a little bit of extra side cash. So, you know, like let's make a deal kind of. Here we go. Oh, now I got you. Our taxer's in. Yes. Okay. All right. Now, back to Act 2. We're right on track with our time. We're right on track with our presenters. And hopefully we're on track with our audience. Let's hear it. Again tonight, our friend Merman Martini is on. I thought it was so clever, two Ethel Merman Martini sisters, but it's all a lot, and it's for you. Let us again make it so that you remember the sounds. Thank you. Let me go first. At 30 seconds before it's time to stop, you will hear. And at the bell of 5 minutes, you will hear. Angela, I don't know how to say your last name. Let me guess, though. I know you guys love it when I do that. And now back to Brüka Theatre. Take 5. Act 2, Friday night. Oh, what a night. Angela Cannon. Whom I had the pleasure of uniting in marriage with Cody Cannon. Thank you. Has lived in Nevada since 1993 and has recently joined the Sierra Arts Foundation team. She writes modern and historical fantasy under the pen name of Angela Navigata. Often using northern Nevada as her setting. She has published 2 books as well as a collection of short works with many of her stories, having appeared in different anthologies. And you can learn more about her as well if you sign up for her newsletter at angelalavigata.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to start the second act of our Take 5 for Friday night with Angela Navigata. With the making of the art of making the real world magical. Time.
Hi, I'm Angela, and I am talking about the art of making the real world magical. And I'm going to use my magic pointer finger and change that. So what do you think of when I say the word fantasy?
Right.
Probably something along these lines, right? Castles, dragons, unicorns, sexy blonde elves that it just means yes, that is actually only one side of the fantasy coin. Now, I will say that is not a full list of subgenres, but it's just a few of them. But that type of fantasy, where it's in another world that you don't know and haven't experienced before, it asks a lot of the reader and the viewer, because not only do they have to follow the story, they have to learn a whole new world. But the other side of the coin, that's magic in our world. That's low fantasy, and that's where I live quite happily. So, how do you take the ordinary and make it extraordinary? Well, first you need an ordinary, relatable person. And I know what you're thinking, that all main characters should probably be relatable. But I'm going to say that Frodo's freeloading existence in the Shire, I do not relate to. I do, however, relate to like bartenders and cashiers and postmenopausal yoga instructors, because they still have to deal with the same things I deal with. So, even if they have magic, or maybe they'll gain magic in the story, they are relatable. Take, for instance, Harry Dresden of the Dresden Files. He's a wizard who lives in Chicago, but he still pays rent. He still has to deal with traffic. These are things I relate to. Now, also, we have an ordinary world where we don't see magic all the time, so usually those stories will have magic hidden. But that means our creativity can go wild. Anything can be magical. Take, for instance, the trans-dimensional mailboxes in the Lake House movie. That was really neat. And then, say your magic, you have to say rhymes to make your magic work. Or you have sayings that you want to make magical, like, find a penny, pick it up, all day long you'll have good luck. Well, it's only good luck because if you didn't find it and it stayed on the ground, everyone would have bad luck for like months. Well, then it would be good luck to find it. Your magic can be anything. And then my favorite thing you can do and that is making historically significant events have secret magical explanations. This is so much fun. There are so many examples. Victorian steampunk is one because, you know, the Victorian era was just full of many, you know, innovations and scientific discoveries. There is also Temeraire, which has dragons and Napoleon, and I've even used it in my story. I had the explanation for the Great Fire of London in 1666 be because they were trying to eradicate a magical invasive weed. So, just because we're in low fantasy, though, does not mean, just because we're not walking through Middle Earth to drop off a ring on Mount Doom, we don't have to have low stakes. We can have anything from miners digging so deep they discover dragons and release them to the detriment of the entire civilization, which is the plot of Reign of Fire, to all the way down to a tiny little town with a tiny little coven of witches who deal with their own personal traumas, which is the book, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. But there is one thing that I think low fantasy does that other genres try to do, but they don't do it as well. And it's an opinion, but it's a correct opinion. And that low fantasy can take current political themes and issues and address them in a way that is fantastical. It separates the people just enough from those problems that they are open, but they are not completely closed to the idea of change, and they can see the parallels in their own world. I mean, Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol. He had 3 ghosts totally haunt Ebenezer Scrooge and taught multitudes of people and Muppets how to be kind. So, I mean, I think it's not something we should discount. So, that is all I have to say today, but I want to say that I hope that what I've said will maybe make you watch, read a low fantasy, but what would make me really, really happy is if you wrote one yourself. And I can do that. I'm so nervous. But anyways, so that is what I write. I write low fantasy. I like having magic in the real world. I like feeling comfortable in the real world. I don't want to have to use my bandwidth that's being used all the time for so many things to try and figure out a world that has its own religion, its own geopolitical climate, its own, you know, I want to be able to enjoy the story, know that gravity works in this world, and just move forward. So, thank you.
And tonight on The Price is Right, we have 3 books. Which book do you choose to stand behind? And you will get to go into that fantasy world on your own and leave this ruddy little world behind. Angela is a wonderful human being, part of the Bruka family, and has... Thank you, David. I've written The Buried Night, and it's one of my very favorites. Thank you, Angela. Oh, you won't be able to see me, I'm sorry. It's so much fun to also get to know the people that are in our lives and their special talents that they have, and giving people an opportunity to talk about them for at least 5 minutes. Angela could probably talk for hours, but you're a very kind, incredible woman. And I believe many of your words are inside of these beautiful books. And so we are blessed to have you. Thank you so much. We have a few writers in the audience tonight. How many, little round of applause, how many people enjoy writing here tonight? Excellent. Well, I hope you'll write about me first. And next up, ladies and gentlemen, Andrew, hold on. Andrew, yeah. How should I say your last name?
Arguello.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Arguello, yeah! Andrew says that cinematography isn't just about cameras. No, no, no. It's about seeing. In this talk, Andrew breaks down how to approach any creative project with a cinematographer's eye, from reading light to understanding composition and emotional tone. He'll show how visual thinking can elevate storytelling in film, photography, or everyday life. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor here at Brüka's Take 5 2025 to present Andrew Arguello with How to Think Like a Cinematographer. I got it. I guess I got it.
Cinematographer.
What he said. It's Andrew, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew, are you ready?
Yeah. You guys told me I wouldn't be able to see him, and you're right, I can. That's awesome.
That's emotional tone, just so you know. Yeah. Time.
I'm ready. Well, my name is Andrew Arguello, and I'm a cinematographer or a director of photography. These are some images I've taken just in this year alone. Some of them are a little violent, so I apologize. But another word for my job is director of photography, or DP. You'll hear that term used a lot. I set that bar really high when I wrote that. I had so much ambition. So get ready while we go over some things that can help you guys take better images in your day-to-day life. The first thing we do when we wake up in the morning is hopefully put on some clothes. And then second, we take our phones and put them in our pocket. And 30 years ago, working with the camera was pretty much non-existent. It took special technology, analog technology that today we have access to digitally. And so all of us are kind of cinematographers today, taking beautiful photos. So I would say as a cinematographer, my job is not necessarily about taking good photos, it's about taking the right photo for the story that we're telling. So some of the things that you guys can pay attention to that will help you take better images in your day-to-day life is natural lighting. One of the things I love doing is when I'm talking to people in an environment is just stare at them very creepily and be like, wow, the lighting on your face is so nice. And I'll just be like kind of looking around at the lighting in the area, and then people are like, are we under attack? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, no, I'm looking at the par light or the Fresnel light or the can light that's all above us. And when you start to look at that day to day, you'll be able to walk around and see where good images could be captured with the natural light around you. So when you're at Thanksgiving this year and your aunt wants to take 75 photos, you can knock that down to like 20 photos by telling her to stand over here because the lighting's a little bit more naturally pleasing. The next thing is pay attention to how high your camera is to what the subject is. So I think that's probably the most common thing I see is if you're like photographing a child, lower the camera to their eye level. It will look a lot less creepy. And then third would be color temperature. So all the lights that we experience day to day have a color temperature. Next time you go to Home Depot, all the boxes will actually tell you the color temperature. It ranges from warm at 1800 to cool at like 10,000. One of the most annoying things for me is to walk into a place and see mixed light bulbs at different temperatures. So don't annoy the cinematographer in your life and buy the same color light bulb. Does everyone know what a cinematographer does? Because I feel like half the time I tell people that, they're like, that's so awesome. And they're like, what do you actually do? How much time do I have? Like 5 minutes. Just keep talking, I'll just keep talking.
Yeah, you still have 2 minutes.
Well, 2 whole minutes?
Yeah.
Oh crap. All right, well, day to day, my job starts in pre-production. So pre-production, we are working with the art team, the props team, the set design team, the wardrobe, camera, lighting, and audio. My job is to work with the director and set a visual tone for what the movie's going to look like. Again, going back to like the right image for the film that we're telling. Once we figured all out that stuff, we picked the camera, we've gone through tests with lenses, we go to production. When we're on production, my job as a cinematographer is managing people, really. It's actually quite boring. My job is just to tell everyone what to do and boss them around and say, hey, stand here, hey, look over there, make sure that light looks really good on you, otherwise you're going to blame me for when the light doesn't look good on you. Lastly, we end up in post-production. When we're in post-production, It's probably one of the longest parts. We usually spend about 6 months to a year in post-production. I work with the editor and I work with the colorist to craft the images that we captured on set. Again, we're setting the tone, so basically my job is just to make sure that from the time we start to the time we finish, the images look like the way we had planned them to, and make sure, like kind of as a project manager, that everyone was on the same page and that those images tell the story we wanted to tell. That's really all I got, man. Enjoy the rest of my reel.
It's really exciting because I think we've almost put together an entire group that we could make that film tonight. We've got the right characters in place. I don't know if you've noticed, all of our lighting is the same color.
I have been walking around this place looking at all of the different lighting types and colors, and I'm so proud.
Oh, David, he's all over. He's like, that was fantastic. It really is amazing how much we don't know and how much we can learn from each other in just 5 minutes. And again, I think with Angela's book and Andrew's cinematography and my good looks and Riley's props and all of us singing along, we're set. Yeah, roll the dice. Roll the dice. Then we'll all be pierced. No introduction is needed for our next incredible Take 5 participant, but God knows I'll give him one. Oh, such a short bio for all the things that we could say about this stunning gentleman. Cal Cattell is a Reno native, veteran, and most recently writer-director of Brüka Theatre's Club Inferno! His background is in information design, and he's produced work for a variety of companies, from Apple Computers to Transformations Magazine. He has created 2 multiple-issue zines, The Familygram and Page Zine. It is an honor to present a man who could tell a story for 5 days and not just 5 minutes, so I can't wait to see what the incredible Cal Cattell brings to Bruka's Take 5 with how and why to make a zine now!
Well, Mary's absolutely right. I am a awful, terrible raconteur. A raconteur is someone who will tell an improbable story about themselves and insert that story into any conversation. But tonight I'm here to talk about zines, and zines are just short for magazines. And it is the purest form of do-it-yourself publishing that you can do. You create the content, you go ahead and you publish it, and you go ahead and you distribute it. And it can be about anything. It can be about recipes, it can be your poetry, it can be a political rant. They've been around for many, many years, but they were particularly popular in the 80s and 90s, and they were the voices of people who had uncomfortable voices, and that would be the punks, and that would be the feminists, and that would be the beginning of the gay community, the gay liberation group. As a matter of fact, in 1983, I was arrested and charged for mutiny for a zine I created for the gay sailors aboard the USS Enterprise. Raconteur! That's how we did it. That's how we did it. Just like that. So a few years after the incident, I was working on ARPANET, which is the prototype network that eventually became the World Wide Web. I was one of the first people to use a graphical web browser. I was one of the first people to click on a link and have it open up in a new web page. I was there when the internet was born, and I am here now to tell you that the internet is dead. Pause for hushed signal. Back then, it was an ecumenical wonderland of dancing babies and hamsters, and cats, way more cats than we had now. And it was a Wild West wonderland free, and it was filled of weirdos and pirates and creators and artists making all kinds of new art forms. And then came the monetization and the corporate roadblocks and social media and the algorithms. And then came the chat box, and then came the AI-generated content. And now we used to go searching for possibilities, and now we get probabilities. And we used to make content for fun, and now we make it for metrics. And when was the last time you found joy on the internet? That's why zines are coming back, especially among Generation Z, who has never known a non-transactional internet. And zine, one of the great things about zines is they don't have algorithms, they don't have community standards to meet. A zine can't be taken down off the net just because of a new election, and a zine can't be deleted off your devices by a digital overlord. They are real, they are physical, a human being made them, and that gives their ideas more reality, more credence than it would ever find online. So here's how to make a zine right now. We're going to take a breath. And we're going to take any kind of paper, any kind of 4-square paper, fold it in half, and we're going to make it into 8 sections, 2, 4, 8. All right, we're going to unfold it again, like this, fold it, cut it right down the middle, and right there you have created your own zine, just like that. All right, and you can go ahead and fill it up with content and everything that you want like that. Poetry, your rants, anything. You can make it your confessions, your comics, anything that you want there, any weird, wonderful thing that you want to create. Leave them in coffee shops, bring them to parties, put them under people's windshields. You are a publishing powerhouse. Make the most out of it. This is why zines are so important right now. This is from Zines for Queens. Every zine is a record, a time stamp of feeling, intention, and care. To make one is to add to the archive of the living. To read one is to hold someone's memories in your hand. That's not small. That is everything. I went to jail for creating a zine. They charged me with a mutiny. It's time for you to create a mutiny of your own. And I have the plans right here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
That I've admired from afar and admired really up close too, and then they've had to say, please step back. Hopefully I have in that way. But up next are 2 incredibly special women, and I'm going to introduce the first one in my character. Get ready, Kira. I mean, Merman. The second act of Brüka Take 5 2025 Wild Card brings us Titanium Tina, the bodacious bionic babe. Thank you. Titanium Tina is a symbol of resilience and strength and reminds us all the power of embracing our scars. Tina was a belly dancer for 10 years until she had a double knee replacement in 2019, which was when Titanium Tina could emerge at last. Titanium made her burlesque debut in 2020, and she has been dazzling audiences ever since. You can catch her electrifying performances with Sweet and Lethal Burlesque, Drag Brunch with the Twampson Bohemian Burlesque, and many more. Check out her Instagram, if you dare, at Titanium Tina for show dates and her ticket links and other luscious things. Currently, she is in school and almost done with her massage therapy and business program. In 2023, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and after 3 chest surgeries, she had to pivot her career goals to accommodate her changing body. She now plans to specialize in hospice massage, with additional plans to become certified in post-oncological breast massage. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor on this Friday night to bring Titanium Tina, the art of making mammograms fun.
Okay, so bear with me. Normally I'm sitting, not speaking. We're gonna work on this. So, you know, the art of making mammograms fun. It's a cheeky title. We'll get more into that, but sometimes laughter is the best compression, right? So, next slide, please. So, why fun matters. Mammograms save lives, but fear keeps many from scheduling. I myself have fallen victim to telling people to get their mammograms, but how do we make that more accessible and less intimidating for people? Humor and creativity can transform fear into empowerment. 13 out of 100 US women will face invasive breast cancer. About 1 in 100 breast cancer diagnoses do occur in men. Making screenings approachable, I feel like really saves lives. So next slide, yeah, you knew. My story, the mustache mission. For my mammograms, mastectomy, and all of my reconstruction surgeries, I began a mustache mission. So I made a little agreement with staff members and anyone that I encountered when I was going through these things that if they would wear a mustache for me for at least 5-10 minutes, I would leave the procedure of whatever I was doing in a mustache the entire time. And much to my surprise, there were many takers. Staff wore mustaches. Even my OR techs and surgeons put mustaches on top of their masks, which was super fun. It spread joy and eased tension for everyone. I was recognized when I went back to the hospital for subsequent surgeries by other staff members running around in mustaches. They came to find me to get their own. And humor did not erase the fear, but it gave us all room to breathe. So here's my little examples. Aren't they beautiful? There are some people in the audience right now that are picturing you wearing these mustaches. It was a sign of support in some ways. There were people that got hold of mustaches and sent me pictures of their children wearing them. And anything we did, we tried to bring the mustaches. I know I'm going to leave that screen up, but next one. So the power of play and presence. Laughter releases tension for patients and staff. The playfulness builds connection and trust. And humor reframes vulnerability into bravery. And being present in the absurd moments is deeply human. So making mammograms fun in practice. So this goes for staff, carers, family, friends. So bright art, cheerful music, and warm energy really makes a difference. fun gowns or themed accessories, I would recommend pasties. What fun to pop it out and it's like decorated. Break it up the tension. You do ideas like Mammo Mondays, Tata Tuesdays, bras and brunch, create events around getting their mammograms. At a facility, I think it would be a great idea to have a photo booth or an I did it ritual. Maybe just a frame that you stand around. I did it, I got my mammogram, and you take a photo. And really just from our peers, humor wrapped in genuine compassion goes a long way. Next. So from awkward to empowerment, got to normalize the experience and celebrate showing up. Take pictures with the booth that hopefully they'll have. That I just mentioned. Create your own, post those photos. Oh, okay, I'm doing good. Turn your screenings into acts of self-love. If you don't feel like being funny about it, be super kind to yourself around getting your screenings. And staff joy is contagious. Closing thoughts. This isn't about making light of cancer. It's about bringing light to it. My mustache mission showed me that humor can transform fear. These tactics work for any difficult moment we face, and together we create connection, resilience, and joy. Compression with compassion, and maybe a mustache.
Inspired by people who bring vulnerability from inside and bring joy to the outside. Your magic, thank you so much. So, it is with, I want to tell a funny story. Really? No, I shouldn't preface it with funny because it might not. A number of years back, when my sister over there, my Martini sister, Merman, thank you. But I called her Carrie, but we also went by the Fire Sisters. We took a show to New York City. And we took Dorothy Parker, and then we took Frankie and Matilde. And this was 2018. And we had a grand time. It was a whirlwind trip. There's so many things I could tell you about, but I'm here to tell you about our friend Rachel. Rachel, from Nevada, was living in New York City, and out of this wonderful, kind, huge blossom cloud comes Rachel to see our show out of the blue. We all have history together in this community, but Rachel really showed up for us, and she came and she saw the show, and then we hung out. And we went to my friend Big Gay Stephen Lincoln's Protein Bakery. We made friends in New York City, and we've kept her since. She shows up and she supports other people. She brings her light and her beautiful smile and her big heart to everything that she does. And so I'm so pleased that you're in the building with us now. Changing character. At tonight's conclusion of the Take 5 Friday night festivities, Rachael Anderson brings to us a seasoned performer with a lifelong love of dance and theater. Her favorite stage credits include Sarah in Stop, Kiss, and Purity in Anything Goes. After graduating college, she danced professionally in magic and holiday productions in Atlantic City, Reno, and Niagara Falls. Wow. Rachel also wears many backstage hats, serving as both a stage manager and a front-of-house manager for burlesque productions starring her wildly talented wife. Currently, she works in microbiology, a career that helps fuel her creative life in the performing arts. She sends love and thanks to her endlessly supportive wife, you know, the one and only Titanium Tina. Reno has seen a great deal of remarkable, incredible people, and we are honored to have with us today Rachael Anderson with the Art of Microbiology.
Welcome to the Art of Microbiology. Like you said, my name is Rachael Anderson, and I'm also a medical laboratory scientist that works at Renown in microbiology, and I'm also a theater geek, as you said. And I'm here to show you the most artsiest, fartsiest science, which is microbiology. Now, in the hospital lab, we have hematology, we have chemistry, we have phlebotomy, blood bank, point of care. They are not as shiny and eccentric as micro, as you can see by the photo. And in micro, we are the most cultured because we culture bacteria. That's our job. We culture bacteria. And more on that later. Now, next slide, please. In micro, we have two main tests. We've got the Gram stain, which uses different stains to ID the bacteria that we see on slides. And then we culture those bacteria where we let them grow on agar plates, such as this plate right here. This is a giant version of the agar plate. And they are both very creative and artistic because Gram stains, oh, it's all right there. Yeah, Gram stains, we interpret the color and the shape of the Gram stain, and then the cultures, we interpret the color, shape, and smell. Yes, the smell. Yeah, the next slide, please. This one is a little busy. Or no, this is not the busy one. Okay, so we have two different colors with the Gram stains. We have, and it depends on like the cell wall type. We have the purple bacteria, which is Gram positive, which takes on crystal violet. And we have pink bacteria, which is the Gram negative bacteria, which takes on safranin. So those are the two main different kinds of bacteria colors. And then, next slide, this is the busy one. We have shapes of bacteria, which we have the cocci, which are round, and then rods, which are rod shapes. Those are the two main different shapes of the bacteria. We're going to break those down a little bit further. We've got gram-positive cocci in clusters, which are Staph aureus. That's, if you've heard of MRSA, that's Staph aureus. We've got gram-positive cocci in chains, which are like streptococcus, if you've ever had strep throat. That's caused by streptococcus. We've got gram-positive rods, which is like Bacillus anthracis, which causes anthrax. We've got gram-negative cocci, like Neisseria gonorrhea, which causes, but it sounds like it causes. And then we've got gram-negative rods like E. coli, which we hear about all the time. And then also on top of the funny little like descriptor of like the shapes of the bacteria, we also have creative names for the morphology of the bacteria. So we've got gram-positive cocci in clusters or grapes. You know, they're by whiny bacteria. The streptococcus are pearls. The gram-positive rods are boxcar, and the gram-negative rods are kidney beans. And that's literally what we do in the lab. We'll be like, what's kidney bean shaped? We're weird. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So after we do the gram stain, we then plate the specimen. So it's like wound cultures, we do blood cultures, we do respiratory cultures, urine cultures, and the gram stain is kind of a hint as to what will grow on the plates. And now to do the plates, we do what's called isolation streaking. In other words, I am a professional streaker, which is just like my wife. Although my streaking is not as pretty as her. My streaking looks more like, you know, painting. We paint the agar. That's why I love bacteria. It feels like you're painting the agar. So you do, I'm not going to open it, but you do, you know, isolation streaks. So you streak the agar. So that means I'm a professional streaker. I get paid to streak every day. And so we'll say that in the lab. We'll be like, oh, I need to streak that out. We're gonna streak it out. I need to do my streaking. Your streaking doesn't look good. And now for my favorite part of the entire microbiology is, next slide please, plate reading. That is my main job. I read plates. And when we look at the plates, we have those, again, this colony morphology, that's what we call it. Oh, shoot. No! We're gonna go through these quickly. My favorite bacteria, next slide please. There's Staph aureus, it's yellow, big round colonies. It smells like stinky people, wet dogs. Next slide please. Streptococcus aeruginosus is gray pearly, small colonies. It smells like butterscotch. Next slide please. Bacillus gracis is medusa head, large colony. Don't smell it. It's a bad joke. Next slide. Mysteria is opaque gray, flat glistening, and it doesn't have a smell, but it only grows on chocolate agar. Next
I've never wanted to have a bacteria more. So amazing, right? That all of these things are happening, but then all of these people all of you as well. Especially the smelly bacteria. I would never ever smell that. It's very pretty as well. I hear that that is the color of the year, the one with the Tonight has been brought to you by gonorrhea. And we couldn't be more thankful that we don't have it tonight. My friends, this was an amazing night. I think I learned more tonight than in my entire education. And that is really very honest and vulnerable. So if you are still here and you are part of Take 5, if you would please approach the stage for a final moment together. Come on, Cod Pink. Ladies and gentlemen, these incredible humans in our community do so many incredible things, and tonight they chose to share it with us. Please give them a huge round of applause. But Julia is married now, but she'll always be Julia Butler, except she's married. And our dear Christina Worthley, who captained this project this year and produced it and contacted everyone. It is a huge monolith of a project, as well. Elizabeth Tenney knows. We are always grateful to you. David Simpson, for without David Simpson, we wouldn't really have a room and a place or lights or anything else. He's an amazing soul. And my dear Martini sister, Merman, who really is called Carrie.